What's good, YouTube land? We're Collector here. Let's say you want this, but you don't want the actual belt. You want a sword transformation device. And, well, there are a variety of options available. So far, there are at least 3, and I have one of them. And even though one of the other 2 is still a belt, but never mind that. Let's take a look at this guy. What's it? The DX Dogouken Gekido, or the Earth Sword, aka the sword of the best dad in Kamen Rider history. So here's a picture of the sword. Here's a picture of Kamen Rider Buster. Right here, that's his name. His ride book there, Wonder Ride book. There's another picture there with the sword, the toy, right there. Right there. There's more pictures. And just to give you an idea of how big the actual prop is, this guy is probably at least 6 foot. Something around that. Look how that sword has got to be at least 4 feet long. And this is the toy of it. You can just see the differences in the scale right there. And just things you can do with it. On the bottom. And yep, there's a sad Pac-Man. So let's get it open. Unsheath that. You get this. And you get this. Very simple. Take it out. Here's the ride book. Wonder Ride book. Genbushimwa. And for the longest time, and just pull the pin. Pull the pin. I generally thought it was Genbushima, like S-H-I-M-A, but it's S-H-I-N-W-A. Because this is a ancient Japanese, well, I guess you could say ancient, Japanese lore of a turtle with a snake for a tail. I believe this is loosely what Blastoise is based off. I actually I meant to look this up a long time ago. Oh, sorry, it's the literal translation of Genbu would be the black tortoise. One of the the 4 symbols of Chinese constellation. Usually depicted at I'm just reading off the Wikipedia at this point. But yeah, a turtle entwined together with a snake. Ooh. In East Asian mythology, I feel like I'm reading. You can just read the Wikipedia, or it's also known as the Black Warrior. I think. Hold on, I'm gonna. I swear I thought Blastoise's name. Where's Bulbapedia? Was Genbu in the Japanese? No, it's not. Kamen. Never mind. I am wrong. For some reason. And can I find what the inspiration was? Oh, never mind. I'm completely wrong. So there's no connection there at all. But yep. So this is the sword of Kamen Rider Buster. This is the Earth Sword. I have to remember the name. Yeah, Dogouken. I think actually Gekido just means Earth. Like Rekka and Nagare just mean fire and water. But, and yep, here's a size comparison. That's a pretty big difference. And hilariously, if you ever watch the show at all, this thing changes appearance from when he has to actually use it to transform, because the name Kamen Rider Buster is completely appropriate, given in the show it's probably about the size of Cloud's Buster Sword from Final Fantasy, or I guess another fictional reference could be Dragon Slayer from Guts. Guts' Dragon Slayer. But it's for a more real world scale, it's much more like a great sword. I forget where the great sword originated, but I think it's Europe probably, which are ridiculously heavy, as you would expect. So in the show, they kind of have to make it as easy to carry and swing around as possible. So it would take a lot of personalized training to get the weight down, and you're not going to expect an actor to do that. So, like, one thing they've done, as we can see, is designed in these holes to take some of the weight away. But they've also, in the show, they occasionally make it look like when you swing it, look like it's made out of cardboard. Just so it's, again, not, even though the prop is still really heavy, it's not as massively heavy as it could be. But this is a perfectly good size. I imagine this looks gigantic in a young kid's hand. It's pretty big for my hand, but it also fits in my hand very nicely. And he even has his face on the pommel, because they are the sword of logos, basically the equivalent of the Knights of the Round Table. The sword of logos. And I didn't even get to my favorite part. Now, with the other two riders so far, we've talked about Saber and Blades. Their sword sticks straight up, which is fine, but you can't really tell with this angle. But Buster's sword, at least the tip of it, is sticking out straight from his forehead. Like, I can't even show you, like, right here. There's a picture that, I'd say, fuck off, Raiden. That picture, can I get a better shot? Not actually with the box in frame. That shot right there is a good it's sticking straight out the front. Oh. But we have to talk about the sword. I've already done a review of Raiden. So, yep, already shown the size. It's solid. It has quite a bit of heft to it. It's going to be definitely heavy in a kid's hand. The blade, just one solid strip of orange. Quite flexible. The details are sort of minimalistic. They do have some of that turtle shell patterning on the back, which is nice. Obviously mentioned the orange chrome which is only slightly coming off because of just overusage of my hand being right there. Bit of transition orange right here, and some orange on the buttons, things. Batteries are right here. I think it takes, yeah, LR44, two LR44. And remember, sad Pac-Man. Only thing I wish it actually had an on-off switch, which is unfortunate. The speaker is right here. Right here. And there is some stuff right here we'll get to. Now, I guess I could give a quick, I want to give a quick sword discussion like I did in the Saber review. So this type of sword, the Great Sword, it has a pommel and it doesn't have a handguard. Because it doesn't need a handguard, the blade generally is so thick that the blade itself is a handguard. Because when you're thinking about it, you need a handguard. Bringing the sword for when it strikes, and it could go lower and hit your hand. The handguard's there, obviously, so you can't go down. But since this kind of blade is so far away, the contact point, it's highly unlikely that it would actually slide down like that to hit your hand. And also, this type of sword needs a pommel, while the other one doesn't, because this is actually the pommel it's referred to. It keeps your hand from just slipping right off, because the big sword, like the weight of the sword combined with gravity, there's a lot of force being put on your hand. So the pommel's there to design, if your hand does slip, it hits something, so then you can make sure your hand doesn't slip off the blade. Oh. So sound effects, you already heard the one slash. Give rapid fire. And what it does is it activates that little nub right there, which will activate this. So give it another look. It's gray, earthish tones. It makes sense. Open it up. You get page 1 with this language again, if somebody wants to translate, and sounds. See, I can't be the only one that always thought it was Genbushima. Listen to that again. And tell me that doesn't sound like an M. And you also get a holographic picture of a turtle right there. So, let's transform. Have to do this kind of as accurately as I can get it. Henshin! God, I love that voice. Oh, I love that transformation. The voice, the music. Given the character, I could definitely see the character doing that. Even though it's not him, it's a different voice. But there's a picture of Buster right there. With his armor, with his turtle shell armor. And that does not change the sound. But one thing I want to note is one of the lines says, was it Gekido? I believe it's Gekido 2nd edition. And that sparked an idea, a thought in my head. What if this wasn't how his sword originally was? Because in canon, he's been a member of the Sword of Logos for at least 15 years. Because the betrayal that I'm not going to give the plot away. The main crux in their story happened 15 years ago in the story's timeline. So what if his sword was different? And then we can assume maybe some sort of sentience, given Saber says nice to meet you to his sword. Maybe Buster had that type of sword at first, and then it evolved. Maybe the other riders that have their unique swords, Kenzan and the other guy whose sword got revealed, the sword that's a gun, which I'm probably going to get, and Saber and Kamen Rider Caliber, their swords all evolved to become what they are now. So maybe he had this kind of sword at the start. Maybe they're all this kind of sword, and they eventually evolve into their like unique types of swords. That would be an interesting bit of lore. I don't know. I can't confirm whether or not it actually is true. It's something I just kind of thought of, but and maybe other people have had that idea. I don't check the message board, so I don't look at other people's opinions. It's kind of a good idea to have in life. It's not look at other people's opinions. But there is one other thing we can do with this, and we have to disengage the ride book. So this orange button right here, you press it in, it releases the lock on this, and we come back to this tab. This button right here, it's the final attack. So you have to, well, in the show, he slides the ride book over it, but really anything can activate it. And also this part is kind of a catch for the ride book. So if I just do random stuff, like it goes all the way to there. It feels like it's supposed to catch it, because the way you have to press it is like that. Like you actually have to press down. So like it feels like it should catch it here, but you can't press it down if you go as far. You kind of have to, like, you literally just have to do this. So you do have you can press it maximum of 3 times. You can press it more times, obviously, if you want, you mad bastard, but there'll only be 3 sets of sounds. So let's do it once. And then activate by pulling the trigger, which I didn't mention, but right here in solid orange. So that's once. That's his main finisher that he uses. So let's do it twice. So the only real difference in the sound is the amount of times he says, Dogouken! And the third time. And that's all 3 of its sounds. So that's it for just this. There really isn't a scanning point. nothing you can do here. It's sort of limited, and it's unfortunate, but we do have more ride books, Wonder Ride books. And so far in the show, the only other one he uses is Jakun to Domomenoki. So... So it's the exact same transformation, it just says Jakun to Domomenoki. And he has officially used this to kind of finish the visualization of the turtle with the snake, because it forms a whip on his arm that vaguely resembles a snake. So, nothing changes if I do a final attack with Jakun to Domomenoki. You can just skip it by... Doesn't register. You can also just for hilarious sake. So. And just for why not, candy toy ones, they don't. You get nothing from that because there are no sounds from this. It kind of makes me wish that there actually was a small LED in the DX ride books, just to add a bit of a visual pop when it's right here. I understand why there's not, because, you know, budget and these things to stay the price they are, LEDs are expensive. Yep, and doing this does nothing. So I could, I'm just gonna do this. As much as I like it, I'm just gonna, just to show you, to cover all my bases, that no Wonder Ride book change the sounds. Go. I see my Schwartz is trying to escape. And yours is as big as... I want to give another... Look how kind of small the Wonder Ride book looks inside the sword. Like, I guess that'd be comparison like this to like it's hard. It's a hard comparison, but I also do want to compare, because this is probably my favorite sword toy I own. The sword driver is probably my favorite belt, but my previous favorite sword was this thing I've had a long time. The Samurai Mega Blade, I believe. Just for a scale, the Mega Blade, which is a dumb name, the spin sword in Mega Mode, which is also a dumb name, is, if we go tip to tip, is actually quite a bit bigger. The tip of the blade, by a couple inches. But this definitely has quite a bit more, like a bit more heft to it, a bit more weight than this. But I love this because it's such a simple toy with a cool gimmick. With the attack changing via pulling the clip. And the transforming element. But if you want another comparison, I know why people have made this comparison. Because this is one of the bigger toys in Kamen Rider. But I don't have the full setup, but just so you can see how big the two orange blades are together. They're about the same length, actually, just the blade bit. Yeah, Hinawa Dai Dai DJ Jude. I don't have the full Naginata mode. Maybe one day I'll buy that toy, but today there has yet to be that day. So overall, I really enjoy this. It's a fun, solid sword toy. Here, I guess I could do this as an example. Here's the Blade Blaster, which is close to be a 1/1 scale prop replica. Just I don't even have to look at just the blade. So yeah, I highly recommend this. It's a fun sword to just play with. Like, it's between these two, I know which sword I want to play with, but I know I wouldn't want to actually fight with the real 1/1 scale version of this, because that thing's got to be probably twice my weight. I'm a thick boy. That thing's probably well over 500 pounds. Like a real great sword made out of steel and everything, gotta be something like that. But now, we still have a little bit we can do with this. So, to pad time even longer, let's go with this. And I might as well. Come on. So, he doesn't have an emblem or anything. There's no way to change sounds. Maybe if they do, like, reveal that he had this sword 15 years ago or so, maybe they will hopefully put out an emblem for this with his style. Because there is one other emblem for this sword, and I have yet to get it, unfortunately. Because of money, but we can get some sounds. Which is kind of the generic ride book sound. Like Peter Fantasy has the same sound if you don't have it with the Nagare emblem, but we can do a triple. Not what I meant to do. He said. And it does create a white light. Because that's the closest thing to the gray, I guess they have, would be a white light. So, I'm not going to use Brave Dragon, but let's do just a 3-fer. Shall do a 2-fer first. And just... And I'll do the metal, the Nagare emblem, just to cover all my bases. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, really? Whatever. Henshin. Nothing changes. Just being... So that's everything what you can do with the Dogouken Gekido and the Gembushin wa Wonder Ride book. So... Ho! 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 So yeah, I heavily enjoyed this toy. I recommend it if you're looking for, as I mentioned at the beginning, a transformation device, a sword transformation device that isn't the belt. Because even though this doesn't have as many sounds as the belt, I still think it has enough to satisfy. And it's just a fun sword toy. Even though it is short, it's probably the biggest sword in the DX Kamen Rider line. At least just the blade. And I didn't even mention it, but there's a little line here that isn't in the on-show prop, the on-screen prop, probably because it had to be like manufactured in multiple pieces and put together. But you actually can't take it apart. I thought when I saw this toy at first, I thought it would be in the package separate, like divided right there, and you would have to reattach it. But no, but it's just there due to manufacturing. So, oh, still a cool sword. We'll see. We'll see how many of the other swords appeal to me. Because Shinobi's sword, I get that it's two, and it's two shorter blades. But like, since when do you see a ninja with two swords? Like, rarely. The other ones that appeal to me so far are the Caliber's sword, because it's basically a much limited version of this. But still looks awesome. And I think it's Kamen Rider not Blaster, but there's a guy, one of the Pink Rider. His armor is hilarious, and his sword is also a gun. So I'm definitely gonna probably take a look at that when I can afford to. So thank you for watching. May the power of the Schwartz be with you. Ooh, my. Insert your own obviously hilarious jokes here. I'm just going to leave this here for a second. Bye! Thanks for watching! Until next time, keep your sword in your pants. I can't say keep it weird because those two things don't really go together, but whatever. See ya. Sayonara.